Get ready for the Fox Report. The search for Chandra Levy leads to an island in the Potomac. And as the case hits its third month, hints from police are that the road ahead may be one less traveled. A county fair torn apart by a deadly blast. Now a small town keeps a vigil over the wounded, and the experts who would best know what happened lie among the dead. The water wars, neighbor versus neighbor, as the southeastern United States fights for its share of precious liquid. Who owns the water anyway? A fair and balanced report you'll see on just one network. The wild typhoon wreaks havoc. Wicked sandcastles at the beach. The surfing fishermen. And golden nights drop from the sky as Fox reports right now.
Live from the world headquarters of Fox News, the most powerful name in news, the Fox Report with Shepard Smith. Fair news, balanced news, now.
Entering a new phase in the search for Chandra Levy and the end of another as Fox reports tonight on day one of the search with no clues. D.C. police now checking out an island in the middle of the Potomac River and about to wrap up their search of parks and abandoned buildings near the former intern's home.
We anticipate, based on the amount of coverage we've had thus far, that we should be complete by the end of the week. Now, it may go a day or two over that, I don't know, but we're anticipating by the end of the week.
Chief Ramsey says the chances of solving the case are now about 50-50. He says that's being very generous. Team Fox coverage now, Rita Cosby in D.C., Jonathan Seri in Condit Country, David Schuster live in Washington. David.
Chef, police cadets found today some men's pants, a handbag, and a small knife. Unfortunately for investigators, it appears that all of the items belong to homeless people. Police spent part of the afternoon in Whitehaven Park just north of Georgetown. Earlier, the search team combed through Roosevelt Island, a strip of land in the Potomac River connected by a footbridge to Rosslyn, Virginia. But there was nothing here, according to police, that generated any new leads or clues. And police say they are running out of places to look for Chandra Levy. They say the physical search will be over by the end of the week. Meanwhile, Chandra Levy's phone records suggest that early in the investigation, several news organizations got a key story wrong about communications between Chandra Levy and Congressman Gary Condit. The records show that Levy did not make a flurry of phone calls to Congressman Condit. In fact, it appears she made no calls to the congressman from either a home phone or a cell phone the week before she disappeared. Shep?
David Schuster. David Schuster reporting live for us tonight in the city of Washington. Cops still not calling Gary Condit a suspect and now saying he's not even the central figure in the case, but the congressman right in the middle of a political firestorm. The latest blast coming from another member of his own party.
I remember he sent this letter he gave to the press telling President Clinton, you should come forth, tell the public everything about your private life. Advice he probably should have followed himself. His political career, as a practical matter, I assume, is gone.
Meanwhile, police going over the transcript of their fourth interview with Levy's good friend, Gary Condit, and checking out a new twist in the tale of phone records. Team Fox coverage continues now. Senior correspondent Rita Cosby live with us in Washington. Rita.
Hi, Shepard. Well, D.C. police say that Condit is not a central figure. They maintain that Chandra Levy right now is the only central figure in the investigation. D.C. police say that they are at a standstill, and they describe this phase as the dog days of the investigation, the tough, grueling part where no major leads are in sight. Law enforcement sources tell Fox News that the FBI wants to review all the interviews D.C. police have conducted, especially those with convicted sex offenders, as well as Levy's neighbors, acquaintances of hers at the health club, and also her co-workers, some of whom have yet to speak to authorities. Sources say police still have lingering questions surrounding Congressman Gary Condit and say they can't rule out another interview with him at some point, but so far and at this point, they have nothing planned. The FBI and D.C. police are now reviewing a transcript of the interview that Condit did with them last Thursday, in which they were shaping an FBI profile of Levy, how she acts, where she went, and who may have preyed upon her. Law enforcement sources say that they have learned that Chandra Levy did not go out a lot in public, especially not with Congressman Condit often during the 8 months that she was here in Washington. And they've learned that she did not have a lot of friends in town and often waited hours at home, hoping Condit would give her a call. And in a sign that tensions are riding high, late today an altercation took place at Congressman Condit's apartment. His senior aide, Mike Dayton, said that Condit was shoved by an Associated Press still photographer who was out there covering him. And Dayton told the press that there needs to be some ground rules established in the future as to how the press covers Congressman Condit, especially now that this case has dragged on for 3 months. Shep.
Rita Cosby live in Washington. Now, police paying a visit to Levy's hometown in Modesto, California. 3 months to the day their daughter was last seen alive. Not easy for Chandra's parents to hear cops talking about calling off the search, but the Levys saying they're keeping their faith.
I'm not giving up, but my heart aches, and our heart aches, and this is very hard. It's very hard. Every day is very hard, and we just want, if anyone's out there and has our daughter, please reconsider, let her go. Let her come home to us. Take care of her and bring her home.
Well, the Levys saying their friends are giving them a few moments of normalcy here and there, but their life, definitely anything but. Team Fox coverage continues now. Jonathan Seri live for us in Modesto. Jonathan.
Shepard, Susan Levy and her husband Robert have been waiting for any information on the whereabouts of their daughter Chandra, even speculation. Today, Mrs. Levy emerged from her home with a letter she received from a psychic. She handed it over to investigators with the local sheriff's office. No word on what that letter said. For 3 months, the Levys have been living in the shadow of their daughter's mysterious disappearance. Susan Levy says it feels like being in a car wreck that never stops. Still, the couple try to go about their daily business while making daily statements to the media to keep Chandra's name in the news. Meanwhile, some Modesto residents are circulating petitions calling for the resignation of Gary Condit. Today, Don Vance, the man behind the petition drive, walked into the congressman's office here in Modesto asking his staff to sign. There were no takers, no big surprise there. But polls are showing public sentiment is turning against the congressman in his home district, a district that many refer to as Condit Country. Shep, back to you.
More on the investigation in a moment. Jonathan Seri live in Modesto. Hundreds of people in Harlem rolling out the red carpet for Bill Clinton, giving a big public welcome to the former president, but the feeling not exactly unanimous. Some of his new neighbors say they'd be better off without him.
All of Harlem does not welcome Bill Clinton. And gentrification, the displacing and the removal of blacks, particularly of poor income, is a problem, and Bill Clinton represents that problem.
But Clinton telling the crowd he feels like he's right at home, saying he's honored to be in Harlem, USA. A Fox report now from senior correspondent Eric Shawn, live with us on Manhattan's upper side. Hello, Eric.
That's right, Shepard. It was a big day for Bill Clinton, a celebration and a homecoming. His first official day in his new Harlem office. It's right here in the building behind me. But first, there was a massive rally in which he was treated like a rock star. About 1,000 people showing up, people from all over Harlem, coming to see not only the former president, who has chosen the largest African-American community in the nation in which to put his office. They thanked him for that. He thanked them for their support and their loyalty during what he called his darkest days, meaning impeachment. Harlem, though, the second choice for the former president. Remember, he first wanted to go into Midtown Manhattan. The big, fancy, high-priced high-rise cost $800,000 a year. He was shamed into leaving that. His choice here, West 125th Street, a building, top floor, penthouse, 14th floor. The price tag, $350 grand. That still makes it the most expensive office for a former president. But he's got something no one else has. His office furniture designed by the brother of Madonna. That's right, Madonna's brother designs office furniture. The former president's first mission in his new office will be to try and start to raise money to help fight the global AIDS problem. His new office, though, of course, not oval, but one Clinton confidant told me at least he's out of the den in Chappaqua. We're live in Harlem. Eric Shawn, Fox News. Back to you, Shepard.
Eric, thanks very much. Robert Mueller, the president's nominee to be our next FBI director, appearing with his family today on Capitol Hill, facing the Senate Judiciary Committee. The former Marine says everyone makes mistakes, even the FBI, but unless the FBI learns from those mistakes, the agency is bound to repeat them.
I will make it my highest priority to restore the public's confidence in the FBI, to re-earn the faith and trust of the American people.
For now, members of the committee are planning to keep the FBI on a short leash, saying Congress will need to take a hands-on approach until the Bureau's problems are solved. Victory for Vieques as voters on the Puerto Rican island going to the polls to stop Navy bombing practices there, scoring a landslide win, 70% voting to stop the bombings immediately. That vote just symbolic. President Bush says he'll stick with his earlier decision to end the exercises in the next 2 years. A legally binding vote in Vieques is scheduled for November. A tragic explosion at the county fair. Shrapnel and hot oil shoot the length of a football field tonight, treating the dozens of wounded and mourning the dead. William Kennedy Smith. Is he headed for Capitol Hill? The word is out, and we'll have details. And late breaking today, Election Day, a national holiday. That's the recommendation from two former presidents and the commission they chair. When and why and what other changes? Details as Fox reports tonight. From the news capital of the world, live to homes around the globe, this is your news, fair and balanced. News with a pulse. News not boring. You're on the Fox Report from Fox News Channel.
Wouldn't it be nice to think that lowering your cholesterol...
Nothing to it.
Was this easy? Well, think again. And start thinking about oatmeal crisp. As part of a low-fat diet, it may help lower your cholesterol. And its plump raisins and crispy flakes with a touch of brown sugar are a really delicious way to do it. So quit dreaming. Wake up to oatmeal crisp and help bring down cholesterol.
Excuse me, I lost the black carry-on. I turned around and it was completely gone.
Did you have the bag inside?
I just got off the plane. It's got a lot of cash in it.
I can't help you.
I'm on vacation. I don't...
Okay.
I have nothing. There's
nothing I can do for you until you fill out the paperwork.
It was absolutely right here.
Okay.
All my money is in this bag.
Until you file a report, I cannot help you. I need your name and a description
But
of
I'm
the
telling
bag.
you,
American Express travelers checks. Don't leave home without them.
Your toothbrush lives in a pretty questionable neighborhood. Your bathroom, home to millions of airborne germs. Introducing the first antibacterial bristle protection toothbrush from Butler Gum. It's the only one treated with a clean coating that prevents germs from flourishing on its bristles. 3 antibacterial brush heads are included. It keeps itself cleaner, no matter what moves into the area. Get the new antibacterial bristle protection toothbrush, only from Butler Gum.
Gentlemen, the Axiom has a 230 horsepower V6. Our commercial opens in New York City.
I love this town.
Then we go to Sweden to show off our dual mode suspension. For beauty shots, Maui at sunset. So, what do you think?
You wish.
Maui!
A dark cloud hanging over the county fair in Medina, Ohio. A day at the county fair turning tragic. An old-time steam-powered tractor ripping apart with a loud explosion, sending shrapnel and hot oil across the fairgrounds. 100 yards it spewed. 4 people dead, 50 more injured, 50. The tractor's owner among those killed, his daughter saying steam engines were one of his biggest joys in life.
Steam engines were his most passionate hobby, and if there was any way that he had to go, I don't think he minded this.
21 people still in hospitals, and the investigation into just how it happened just beginning. A Fox report now from Tracy McCool of Fox affiliate WJW. Tracy.
Good evening, Shepard. Well, the investigation is ongoing, and it is certainly a very sad day out here at the Medina County Fairgrounds. People are now stopping by the Vintage Farm Collection to pay their respects to the people who died in this horrible accident. And yes, detectives are still trying to figure out exactly what went wrong. Now, investigators say the blast happened moments after Clifford Kovacic pulled his 1918 vintage steam-powered tractor onto the grounds. It happened without warning. There wasn't even a fire, just a lot of destruction left behind. The explosion was so powerful, in fact, heavy metal was thrown through the air and landed more than 100 yards away. Steam and hot oil showered the area. Kovacic, his son, 2 others were killed. Many others were badly burned. 2 local officers who were talking with Kovacic at the time were also badly hurt. We were told today that their bulletproof vests likely saved their lives. Now, investigators spent the day combing through the charred remains of the tractor, looking for clues, but what they're really hoping for is that witnesses will help piece this mystery together. That is because the only people who know this machine the best are now no longer with us today. But again, Shepard, heard, investigators are calling this tragedy here in Medina, Ohio, just a horrible, horrible accident. At this point, they believe it was some sort of malfunction in a safety device. But whatever happened out here has left people here in Medina County missing a very good friend. We are told that Kovacic loved his tractors, and he enjoyed coming here to the Medina County Fair.
Tracy McCool reporting live for us. The Houston mom accused of drowning her 5 children indicted today. A Harris County grand jury formally charging Andrea Yates with capital murder. Her children ranging in age from 6 months to 7 years, where they all drowned in the family's bathtub. Yates allegedly suffers from postpartum depression. A California judge granting a request today from Paula Poundstone's lawyer, that judge scheduling an August hearing for the comedian, allowing her more time to investigate the case. Today's hearing, Poundstone's first court appearance since pleading not guilty to charges of sexually molesting 1 girl and endangering 4 others. The comedian has been free on $200,000 bail, but her attorney says she remains in a residential alcoholism treatment program. Investigators in California hope to talk to Mike Tyson this week about claims that he sexually assaulted a woman. She says it happened 2 weeks ago at a home Tyson rents in San Bernardino County. Tyson now training in Phoenix for a possible fight in September. Not the first time he's been accused of assaulting women. A rape conviction and other charges sent him to the prison for 3 years back in '92. Former Dallas Cowboy Michael Irvin pleading not guilty this morning to a felony drug charge. The former receiver charged with possessing less than a gram of coke. Irvin's lawyer says his office is conducting its own investigation into the charge, saying he'll give findings to the judge in hopes of avoiding a trial. The former Cowboy completing 4 years of probation last year on a no-contest plea to a similar charge. Irvin facing 2 years in jail if convicted. William Kennedy Smith, till now his main claim to fame being cleared of rape. Now, he may want you to start paying his salary. 91 days, the search for Chandra moves to a new spot, and the pressure on Gary Condit, well, the police are saying he's not even a suspect until we'll lay off him. A complete wrap-up coming of the day's developments. They're the Blue Angels of parachuting, some high-flying daredevils. The Sky Dogs dropping in.
Who's looking out for us? The working people of America. Yes.
What do you say to investors who are a little frightened of the current market?
Is this a good time to get out?
What if the downtrend continues?
First, just relax. When markets are down, we all get fearful about it. Investing is about the long term. If you have a few bonds in your account, a little bit of cash, a little bit of stock, you can weather almost any kind of a market.
To learn more, call 1-800-3-SCHWAB today to sign up for our complimentary workshop navigating today's market.
There's a way to remove dust and not just move it around. Swiffer cloths have lift and lock pockets to help attract and trap dust and dirt with the swipe of a hand. The Swiffer system cleans even hard-to-reach places. And when you're done, just throw the dust away. When Swiffer's the one, consider it done.
There's something about Kraft cheese.
Imagine combining the stain-fighting power of Effordent and freshening power of Listerine. You'd get Effordent Plus. It's extra fresh, and nothing gets your dentures cleaner. Effordent Clean, Listerine Fresh. Ah, that's Effordent Plus.
Basta. Ah, sì, proteine. Molto bene, Uncle bene. E pronto, Antonio. Good, huh?
New Uncle Ben's pasta bowls.
Is the search for Chandra ending? Continuing coverage of the missing intern just minutes away. And who dumped the dogs? A bunch of puppies buried alive. Who found them? And the search for those responsible as the Fox report continues in 60 seconds.
Want the most? Most of the best?
then check out Best Most Max.
Works for me.
Multimax is 3 channels catering to every movie taste. Cinemax has the hits that don't miss with a big title every night.
That's insane.
And add more Max for great films from the past and present, plus star-studded double features.
Oh.
Lots of great movies, one low price. Click or call to get Multimax from Cinemax for just $10.99 a month.
This summer, the hottest night of the year is Saturday, August 11th. It's the Rolling Rock Town Fair 2.0, only on pay-per-view, featuring Stone Temple Pilots. Live. And special appearances by Deftones, Oleander, and Tantric. It's the concert event of the summer. Rolling Rock Town Fair 2.0, Saturday, August 11th, only on pay-per-view.
Police say a Los Angeles school police officer can thank his bulletproof vest for saving his life. A teenager accused of shooting the officer once in the chest after a confrontation at Belmont High School. The victim stable in the hospital now, the suspected gunman, and another teen still on the run. An outpouring of love and money for the 8-year-old boy nearly killed by a shark attack in Florida. An auction in Pensacola this weekend pulling in about $7,000 for Jesse Arbogast's medical expenses. And one big company announcing last week it'll kick in another 50 grand. The little boy still in a light coma, his arm reattached after a bull shark literally tore it off earlier this month. And now from our newsrooms coast to coast, Fox reports across America. Massachusetts, a small passenger plane making an unscheduled stop in Westfield, crashing into a company that makes fire sprinkler heads. The plane on its final approach to the airport, but veering left and smashing into the building. The pilot and 2 passengers survived. Texas, some scuba divers near Galveston running into trouble above the waters. Their dive boat catching fire, and 17 aboard need some help, and quickly, from the Coast Guard. The passengers ferried off to safety while a fire control boat sprays water to put out the blaze. Everybody rescued, and the damaged ship towed to port. West Virginia, rain so heavy they're bringing in the National Guard. Floods and mudslides outside Charleston. It's the 3rd time this month the state's been hit by torrential downpours. Now the governor on scene surveying the damage. California, water also not welcome here at the annual Beach Sandcastle competition in San Diego. Teams of contestants crafting everything from dangerous-looking sea creatures to medieval castles, even pigs. And it's not just sand, obviously. They're using anything and everything as long as it's biodegradable, and that's a Fox Watch. Across America, now the lucky 7. 7 puppies found buried alive in Minnesota. 2 girls riding their bikes in East Bethel, hearing some whimpering down there somewhere, spotting a little puppy head poking up out of the dirt. Found 6 more newborns underground and on their way to death. The pups so young their eyes aren't even open yet. No word on who dumped them there. Shot of the day time now for the surfing fishermen. Every year for the past 14, they've hit the waves in San Diego for the surfboard fishing competition. More of a party, really, than anything else. Can't exactly catch Moby Dick from a surfboard, but you can reel in dinner. And after the lines come out of the water, it's time for a huge barbecue. Just another awesome day on the Southern California sand, and today, it's our shot of the day. 91 days later, where is Chandra Levy? The search scaling back soon, so for the Levy family, is time running out? Updating our top story just minutes from now. The U.S. military putting on quite a show. Will take you high in the clouds with the Sky Dogs and take a first-class dive to the earth below. A recommendation from 2 former presidents coming out late today, one that could change federal election day in an enormous way. After the tight race in Florida, is it time to make big changes? We'll report. You decide.
Refinancing your mortgage may be easier than you think.
Just log on to Ditech.com or call 1-800-71-FIX. Today's low fixed rate with 0 points is only 6.990%. With interest rates lower, now may be a great time to get cash or use the equity in your home to consolidate bills. It's smart money from Ditech.com. Apply online or call us at 1-800-71-FIX.
Presenting the unshakable confidence of the best holding C-bond denture adhesive ever. New C-bond denture adhesive. A unique comfort thin seal with 3 powerful adhesives holds your dentures comfortably all day. C-bond. No ooze, no mess like creams. Easy cleanup. The best holding C-bond ever.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's that time of year again. They're going back! It's back to school time at Staples. Over 7,000 supplies at guaranteed low prices. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Staples. Yeah, we got that.
My job, no matter what happens, the show must go on. So I took control with Depend Protective Underwear, the closest thing to regular underwear out there. Now in new super absorbent with the Depend protection I trust. All I have to worry about now is hitting the high notes. Take control with new Depend.
Tomorrow on Fox News Live, the government says shut them down, but is their fate sealed? Closing your local post office. We have this controversial story. Then politics, sex, and scandals. What really happens? We talk to a D.C. intern. Plus sex, lies, and murder. It's got it all. But can you solve the crime? We check out Fox's primetime Whodunit. That's tomorrow on Fox News Live. Next, he's outspoken, outlandish, always politically incorrect, never a dull moment, as Bill Maher disses D.C. Coming up next on The O'Reilly Factor.
We're 2 minutes to top stories as Fox reports tonight, but first, the daring do of the U.S. Army's resident sky dogs. The Golden Knights, they're called, the show jumpers flying high above the Windy City, drilling for Chicago's annual Air and Water Show. This drop crew working without a net, and that's fine with them. In a Fox report now from Patrick Elwood.
For the guys of the U.S. Army Golden Knights, it's just another day at work. For more than 40 years, the Golden Knights have been amazing the masses, performing hundreds of times annually, thousands of jumps before millions of people. They are favorites at Chicago's Air and Water Show. Today, it's practice time. When we reach an altitude of about 4,500 feet, Sergeant Dave Dix and the rest of the crew will jump. The air temperature is about 15 degrees cooler than it is on the ground. And for each visitor like myself, we're given an earplug and the ever-important motion sickness bag. This is an 8-man crew with Gulf War veterans like Sergeant Pedro Munoz and the one they call the Kid.
The best part of this job is seeing the looks on the kids' faces when we get down on the ground and we're dealing one-on-one with them, and we're able to sit down and talk to them and find out what they thought about the show.
Okay, ready, set, go! But before they fly with the birds, they check their gear from head to toe and back again.
We've got our altimeter, which tells you how far above the ground you are in reference to, when you need to open your parachute.
That's your Bible, more or less, huh?
That is. This is the bread and butter of the parachute jump right here.
After testing the winds, it's go time. The adrenaline pumping. A last check of the camera, which the team uses for training purposes, and away they go. Falling thousands of feet at speeds up to 120 miles per hour. Yes, another day at the office. Patrick Elwood, Fox News.
Bottom of the hour, time for the top of the news and a quick update on Fox Top Stories. A block party and a jazz band welcoming Bill Clinton to his new office in New York City's Harlem. Clinton's new digs, the priciest of any ex-president, costing more than $350,000 a year. Robert Mueller, the president's nominee to be our next FBI director, undergoing a confirmation hearing with Senate Judiciary Committee. And D.C. police now checking out an island in the middle of the Potomac River in the search for Chandra Levy. Cops about to wrap up their search of parts and abandoned buildings near the former intern's home. D.C.'s chief of police says the chances of solving the case are about 50-50.
The final week that recruits will be scouring wooded areas in Washington, D.C., a sign that after 3 months, they have no major leads in the Chandra Levy case. In this small park called Roosevelt Island on the Potomac River, they only found items they believe belonged to homeless people.
There was a small knife that was recovered, and there was also a pair of men's pants wrapped up in plastic. I don't think there was anything significant.
Levy's parents are disappointed that the search is fading and feel there may still be avenues for police to investigate.
Well, I'd like to see them look at everything, you know. I don't know if they have. You know, certainly, you know, doing things 12 weeks later, I'm not sure you can get the same facts you would have gotten early on.
Law enforcement sources tell Fox News the FBI wants to review all the interviews D.C. police have conducted, especially those with convicted sex offenders, as well as Levy's neighbors, acquaintances of hers at the health club, and co-workers, some of whom have yet to speak to authorities. Sources say police still have lingering questions surrounding Congressman Gary Condit and an unexplained phone call placed from Mrs. Condit's home to the congressman's Washington apartment. Publicly, police say they have no evidence of Mrs. Condit speaking to anyone on the phone at the time in question. For now, police are cautious as to whether they'd interview the Condits again.
I think the information that we've gathered is sufficient at this point. We never rule out that we may talk to someone else again, but we really have to remember neither the congressman nor his wife is a suspect in this case.
Police say they wish Congressman Condit had taken an FBI-administered lie detector test, but they say the chances of that happening now are slim, and at this point, they are not pursuing it. In Washington, Rita Cosby, Fox News.
Make Election Day a federal holiday. That's the recommendation in a report released in part late today by a committee chaired by former Presidents Carter and Ford. It also suggests that voters challenged by poll workers should be allowed to go ahead and cast their ballots, then let the validity of those ballots be determined later. The committee is the National Commission on Federal Election Reform. Its 100-page report, due out tomorrow, says in part that the punch card voting system that took so much heat down in Florida is not so bad after all. An apparent new twist in the case of FBI spy Robert Hanssen. A Washington Post report says that while selling secrets to Moscow, Hanssen also worked as a key supervisor in a program that questioned the loyalty of Americans. The program monitored activities in the White House and worried could be manipulated by Soviet propaganda. Hanssen has admitted to 15 criminal counts of espionage in a plea deal that'll give him a life sentence. The Pentagon about to face the eyes of auditors. Military and civilian defense workers charged $5.5 billion last year on Pentagon credit cards. Now congressional investigators want to know if those are legitimate purposes. The investigators say the department-wide audit comes after a preliminary probe of 2 California Navy units turned up widespread fraud and widespread abuse. The Pentagon defends its credit card system. The government and corporations now sending out a warning about the so-called Code Red internet worm. This virus is expected to strike again tomorrow night. It has already affected hundreds of thousands of internet-connected computers. Since the July 19th outbreak, there have been widespread slowdowns and sporadic outages. The worm's been slithering through Microsoft operating systems. Vulnerable users are advised to install a software patch. He was charged with rape. The blue-dotted accuser filled our television screens for months. The trial captured America's attention, and William Kennedy Smith was acquitted. Now will he run for Congress? A Fox report from Steve Brown.
Another Kennedy bid for Congress. The news leaked out in Chicago over the weekend.
I know that Will is looking into the race.
Will is Dr. William Kennedy Smith, and he reportedly has his eyes on a Chicago congressional seat, currently held by Democrat Rod Blagojevich, who is leaving the job to run for Illinois governor.
William Kennedy Smith, he contacted you?
Has he contacted me? No, he hasn't.
But William Kennedy Smith has done focus groups.
These are small groups of people who are used in a sense as political guinea pigs, where you could run through names of potential candidates and see what people think of them.
Many landmine victims survived the blast.
The focus groups were shown video of Kennedy Smith's work towards banning the use of landmines worldwide.
So I'm very hopeful that over the long run we can really control this weapon, and I think we've made a lot of good steps in that direction.
But the Chicago Sun-Times reports those same focus groups did not see videotape of William Kennedy Smith's biggest piece of political baggage, his 1991 rape trial.
And we find the defendant not guilty. What Smith has to decide is if voters are willing to give him a second chance.
But one Democratic political consultant says it is one thing for voters to give the benefit of the doubt to someone found not guilty of a crime. However,
whether they're willing to do that to the degree that they'll vote for him for Congress, I don't know. And he doesn't know either, I'm sure, which is why he's done these focus groups.
William Kennedy Smith was not available for comment, but while he mulls over his decision, the field for the race is still growing. And reportedly, Rahm Emanuel, former advisor to President Clinton, is also interested in the job. In Chicago, Steve Brown, Fox News.
Do you drive a sport utility vehicle? It is possible to make them guzzle less gas. The National Academy of Sciences says car makers could improve fuel efficiency by up to 47% by building lighter SUVs. But that, it says, could raise the risk of someone getting hurt in a crash. President Bush says he'll use those newly released report numbers as he decides whether to push for higher fuel efficiency standards. Texas is now moving toward deregulation of the electric market. A pilot program starts tomorrow. The state's electrical grid scheduled to begin switching customers who signed up for the deregulation program to new companies. That program was created to give power companies several months to test their systems before full-scale deregulation begins in January. Well, how about electricity in power-troubled California? There's so much in the grid that the state is now selling some back at a loss. Meantime, one analyst is saying that dipping gas prices could continue to head south, at least for the short term. Oil analyst Trilby Lundberg says while supply still outweighs demand at the pumps, prices could begin working their way back up. But the increases will not be dramatic. An update on energy in a Fox report now from Trace Gallagher.
Good morning. This is the 8 o'clock news on KFI Los Angeles. Our officials hoping to get through another day without the rolling blackouts.
The forecast called for a hot, dark summer. Rolling blackouts in the west and northeast. $3 gas across much of the country. But a funny thing happened on the way to the energy crisis. Electricity supplies went up, gas prices went down. And the panicking prognosticators are getting a few I told you so.
We accepted their threats that there would be blackouts if we didn't pay the highest price possible, and we paid a premium. And we're now staring at 10 years of high electricity prices.
California now has so much electricity hitting the grid system, the state is selling some of it back on the open market, sometimes at pennies on the dollar. The glut reportedly is the result of cooler temperatures and conservation.
People are more aware. They're turning off their TVs. They're not leaving their computers run all night. Industries maybe not running as long or using shorter shifts or whatever ways they can use to reduce energy consumption.
On the flip side, the latest Lundberg study came out today, and the gasoline picture is improving. Not because demand is lower, but supply is much higher, which appears to hurt administration proposals in favor of drilling for oil in the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. The plan already faces strong resistance in Congress, and plentiful oil could put an end to it. But economists say we have to stabilize future energy sources.
The lesson to be learned here is that unless we're comfortable with the boom-bust cycle, we still need some sort of capacity planning.
For now, the country is re-energized, but the situation remains tenuous. The Lundberg study expects gas prices to level off, then go back up. And if California has a hot August, the blackouts may yet roll on. In Los Angeles, Trace Gallagher, Fox News.
A series of brutal bombings shake the Mideast, tearing apart buildings and cars and leaving a trail of victims behind. Lance Armstrong, the cancer survivor, pedaling right into cycling history. And water woes. Some states are drawing the battle line over the resource. Who owns the water? Do the governments make the decisions? It's a report you'll see on just one network.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
I was hosting my first big business dinner, and I paid with my Visa card. Turns out I was over my limit. I was so embarrassed, I didn't know what to do. So I got the American Express card, and it never happened again.
Call 1-800-THE-CARD. We can take your application right over the phone.
Applying for the card was one of the easiest things I've ever done, and smartest. And anyone who's ever gone anywhere knows it. I have a place to cash checks, get my mail, and get help when I need it.
My dad said the minute you get a job, get an American Express card. He said, trust me on this one. I've gone everywhere with it. And here's a tip. Sign up for membership rewards, and everything you charge on the card will earn you program points, so you can keep on traveling.
So call now for the American Express card. You can apply right over the phone.
It helped not having a preset limit.
It's great getting points every time you use the card.
I can call 24 hours a day. That helps.
No matter what you do or where you go, the American Express card can help you do more.
In 1998, thousands of families were forced to flee Kosovo. We at the Philip Morris Company felt we needed to help them, so we sent 5 tons of food, and I went along to see that it got there. For more than 40 years, the Philip Morris Companies have been one of the largest corporate contributors to disaster relief efforts in the United States and around the world. Working to make a difference, the people of Philip Morris.
Toyota Avalon. All you need now is a doorman.
A series of explosions rocking the Mideast as Fox reports tonight. Israeli helicopters firing rockets at a Palestinian police compound. 7 cops hurt in the attack. Israeli army says the headquarters doubled as a mortar bomb workshop. A powerful pre-dawn blast ripped through a car parts store in the West Bank. 6 Palestinian activists killed in the explosion. The force of the bomb tearing the roof right off the shack. Israel denies any involvement. A bomb also went off in a supermarket in Jerusalem. No injuries there. A Protestant teenager mistaken for a Catholic shot to death in Northern Ireland. Police and politicians say the gunman was trying to stir up hatred, sprayed shots at the 18-year-old victim and his friends outside a sports club. An anti-Catholic gang claims responsibility here. The militants warning of more violence to come. Later this week, Britain and Ireland plan on unveiling a new peace agreement aimed at saving the 1998 Good Friday peace pact. A devastating typhoon roars across Taiwan, said to be the worst of the year. Nearly 36 dead, more than 100 others missing, many of them believed to be buried alive under the mudslides. Winds topping 90 miles an hour, ripping palm trees out of the ground, raging floodwaters yanking cars downstream. The typhoon now downgraded to a tropical storm and headed toward China. Italy's Mount Etna putting on a natural fireworks show. This thing is so unpredictable. The volcano throwing new showers of magma and ash into the air, walls of dirt and rock keeping the latest lava flows under control so far. Troops are scheduled to be reinforcing the embankments, even though the 2 main lava flows seem to the experts to be slowing down. Man, it's a beautiful sight, isn't it? Mount Etna, Europe's most active volcano, and has been erupting now for more than 2 weeks. Poland is fighting a flood surge and an elephant rescue in Kenya, so get ready to go around the world in 80 seconds. Poland, bring out the sandbags because a monster flood is on the way. A 65-mile flood wave moving down Poland's largest river, threatening villages on the way to Warsaw. There, fire trucks and boats are at the ready just in case the dikes don't hold. It's the worst flooding since a $3 billion disaster 4 years ago. France, hailing a swimming hero. The first Chinese person ever to cross the English Channel emerging victorious, the 37-year-old gym teacher achieving the goal on his first attempt, using a freestyle stroke to go 21 miles. The swimmer leaving England covered in grease and walking onto French sand just about 12 hours later. Great Britain, the planes are too crowded. That's the cry from folks about to sue over what they call economy class syndrome. They're blaming cramped seating quarters for putting them at risk of developing potentially lethal blood clots. The clots are thought to form in travelers' legs after they sit on long flights. Kenya. An elephant left to fend for herself. Mom set free from a park and runs off without the little one. Now the baby's 6 months old and in an orphanage. And that's a wrap on this Fox trip around the world in 80 seconds. Well, American cyclist Lance Armstrong has done it again, riding into the record books and already eyeing his next race. Armstrong winning the Tour de France for the 3rd year in a row. No American has done that before. Thousands now cheering as the 29-year-old, that is, crossed the finish line, ending a grueling 3-week race. Armstrong won his first Tour de France in 1999 after a battle with cancer. He's set to get back to the United States later this week, then go back to Europe for yet another race. Also leaping into the spotlight, but not the record book here, a unique dance troupe in China. Performers dressing up in, I don't know, all kinds of freaky outfits made to look like sorts of animals. Virtual Noah's Ark it is, monkeys and zebras and leopards and birds inhabiting the stage here. Dancers changing into different costumes throughout the show to bring this wild world to life. A world ruled by apes conquered the box office over the weekend. Did you see this thing? The new reimagining of the cult classic breaks free of the pack with some pretty massive numbers, but how was the show? And another monkey, much kinder, less horrifying, a furry ball of mischief, taking his own little monkey steps to the big screen. But his look more Shrek than Mickey Mouse. Curious George, coming up in G.
My job is to understand the auto companies better than anybody else.
That's just what we need.
I worked in the industry, and I understand what it takes to make a successful auto company and what it takes to make a successful investment in those auto companies. At Prudential, we've gone to a 3-point rating system: buy, sell, or hold. There's no gray. If we think it's time to buy, we think it's time to sell. Investors know exactly what our opinion is and what to do with it.
One part tulip, 2 parts French vanilla. Add 1 whitewash shutter. Mix 1 quart lazy afternoon. Stir in 1 cup sunshine and a pinch of fresh sand. Serves 1 for a family of 6. Introducing Swedish Home by Ethan Allen. All the ingredients you need to make an elegantly simple home.
Is one city down south draining its neighbors dry? Who has the final say over who owns the water? It's a report you'll see on Just One Network. Where should the government step in? We'll report. You decide.
Hey, buddy. Let's order a movie.
Yeah. You love movies, and we love bringing them to you. At the touch of a button, Dish on Demand brings you a great selection of the movies of our time. Thrills, action, romance, and comedy. Simple, affordable, family fun. Share the experience. Tonight, pick up your remote instead of your car keys. Order a pay-per-view movie from Dish on Demand.
There's a simpler way to save for the things you want. The Orange Savings Account from ING Direct. Everyone gets the same high 4.4% rate. With no minimums, no fees, and without changing banks. It's the simple way to make the most of your money. Call 1-800-ING Direct for great rates on savings, loans, and mortgages. 1-800-ING Direct.
Are you one of the millions of American males who would like increased sexual energy? If you've been considering Viagra as a solution, consider something different. All-natural Enerx. Clinical studies show various ingredients of Enerx enhance sexual energy, increasing desire, performance, and satisfaction. Enerx is all-natural with no side effects. With Enerx, you'll feel the increased energy within minutes and with no chemicals. We're so sure you and your mate will be completely satisfied. We'll offer you a 30-day, no questions asked, full refund. Enerx stimulates sexual energy by expanding the blood vessels, causing increased blood flow to specific areas of the body. Unleash the power of Enerx now.
Call 1-800-367-7960 toll-free, and it will be delivered discreetly to your home. Get results using the safe, all-natural alternative, Anorex.
Three neighboring states down south now fighting tooth and nail over water. They have to share the rivers and lakes and streams that cross their borders, but those talks are swimming in controversy. The debate over who controls Mother Nature's water and how it should be managed in a fair and balanced report from Brett Baer.
I think Weiss Lake, being located in northeast Alabama, is one of the prettiest places on earth.
Alabama leaders say the continued beauty and economic success of Weiss Lake and places like it hinge on water debates between officials from Georgia, Alabama, and Florida. Water flowing from the North Georgia mountains winds its way through two river basins, with booming metro Atlanta able to siphon from both, while Florida and Alabama depend on what's left.
We have to come up with a situation where all of the states win and nobody loses, or we will not be able to have success out of this.
Weiss Lake sits in Alabama, just across the Georgia border, filled with trophy fish that bring thousands of tourists, generating millions of dollars. Residents fear their water supply is being sucked up by their sprawling upstream neighbor, Atlanta.
You can't take those volumes of water out of a river basin without the effects being just astronomical, both to the fish, the wildlife, and to our way of life for our lake in general.
It's known as the Tri-State Water War, a battle over two river basins that provide water for drinking, electricity, recreation, and even provide the needed fresh water for Florida's profitable seafood industry. Representatives from the three states hope to settle the feud themselves. Otherwise, it could end up in the U.S. Supreme Court.
I mean, these are incredibly important resources here. This is truly a global biodiversity hotspot.
Georgia has the water. We have it until it crosses state lines.
So the Southeast, a place once thought to have an inexhaustible supply of water, is embroiled in a fight over who controls and manages it.
We're going to fight it with every tooth and nail we can.
In Atlanta, Brett Baer, Fox News.
You pay for that movie, you walk in that door and you give them good hard money. So why do they throw commercials in front of your face, huh? Have you noticed this thing? How come you have to watch commercials when you pay? You get a pay-per-view channel, you don't have to watch commercials. HBO, no commercials. That's the point. So why do we have commercials in the movies? Hang on for the G Block. And then the X-Files, David Duchovny's gone. So who hangs out with Jillian, huh? It's a woman who's no stranger to the, well, stranger side of television inside your G Block. The G Block, now with wealthy talking monkeys.
Refinancing your mortgage may be easier than you think. Just log on to ditech.com or call 1-800-71-FIX. Today's low fixed rate with 0 points is only 6.990%. With interest rates lower, now may be a great time to get cash or use the equity in your home to consolidate bills. It's smart money from ditech.com. Apply online or call us at 1-800-71-FIX.
You could be having a lot more fun this summer. Just drop whatever you're doing and get to your Pontiac dealer for the 2001 Pontiac Summer Clearance, where you can save a bundle. Get 0% APR financing on the driving excitement of any 2001 Pontiac in stock, or up to $2,000 cash back on select models. See dealer for restrictions. With a deal this good on driving excitement, you may want to get more than one. 0% APR financing. That's what you're going to get. This is where you gotta go.
I've taken care of this garden from the very first seedling. We need each other. But when I got arthritis, I thought my gardening days were over. Then my doctor encouraged me to keep at it, because staying active helps keep joints from getting stiff. And to make it easier, he recommends Advil. It's the #1 recommended medicine of its kind for arthritis pain, and it's gentle on my stomach. My doctor's right. Advil and gardening work beautifully.
Advil, stronger than pain.
amount of calcium, and singles are a good source. There's something about Kraft cheese.
This weekend, it's Forbes on Fox.
The market goes up, the market goes down.
The inside scoop on investing.
Where's all the money going to go to?
Giving you the bottom line.
I would probably wait on this one.
Plus stocks to watch.
They would lose more than we would.
And the ones to drop.
How much pain are investors willing to take?
It's all you need. This weekend, watch Forbes on Fox.
Sounds like a good idea.
Next, he's outspoken, outlandish, always politically incorrect, never a dull moment, as Bill Maher disses D.C. Coming up next on The O'Reilly Factor.
Planet of the Apes version 01. Did you see it? Yeah. This weekend's 925 mandrill. Early estimates have the sci-fi monkey movie pulling in a hair less than $70 million. Bet that drops off. It's more than enough for the #1 slot. And if those numbers hold, Apes will have earned the biggest non-holiday 3-day weekend in the entire history of the entire worldwide world. Ape or otherwise. And keeping on the evolutionary track, the dinosaurs of Jurassic Park falling behind the apes for a second-place take of $22.5 million. E! reports that former Xena star Lucy Lawless is set to join the Truth Brigade. The actress signed on for multiple episodes of the upcoming season of The X-Files. She'll join Gillian Anderson for the first 2 episodes with an option of coming back. No word on what sort of character the warrior princess will play. Have you noticed when you go to the movies in some theaters, the start time really isn't the start time? Yeah, they have the trailers. They've always had the trailers. Those can be cool. You know what's coming up later. But what's with the commercials? Why do you have to sit through commercials? A G-Block report now from Bill McCuddy.
Welcome to Wendy's.
Good evening, Wendy. Product placement. It's everywhere in movies. But some advertisers can't wait for the film to start. No, that's not a coming attraction for Toyota the movie. These are good old-fashioned ads.
Yeah, it's that nice.
Running commercials before movies is just another revenue stream for the theater.
People have fled their homes to get away from turning on television set and seeing commercials, and now they rush off and they go to a movie theater, and then they say, well, they're looking at commercials.
Movie theaters get most of their money from concession stands, not from ticket sales. That money's shared with the studios. But some ad execs think that showing commercials in the hallowed ground of the theater may actually backfire.
Bionicle, find the power. In the theater I was in, I actually heard people hissing. So I don't know how it can really help that particular advertiser. I mean, I just don't think commercials coming into movie theaters is going to work.
Cartoon Network is building you a better cartoon show.
Moviegoers had mixed opinions.
It was a little annoying.
It kind of takes away from feeling like you're at the movies.
It's weird. It's weird. I'm not used to it, but I don't mind it.
And the stars, they just want their movie shown.
I don't know what's wrong with them. We come to watch a movie. We don't want to watch all this other stuff trying to sell us stuff. We want to watch this movie.
You have to be careful not to alienate audiences. Audiences right now are kind of upset with the cost of movie tickets, so it's a real fine line. But I think ultimately people will be okay with it.
So will any of this lead to lower ticket prices at the movies? Don't bet your jujubes. Near the back, behind the tall family with the crying baby, I'm Bill McCuddy, Fox News.
Well, from the We'll Never See It department, word from TV Guide Online about Ally McBeal. Had Robert Downey Jr. stayed out of trouble, Callista Flockhart and her characters would have been walking down the aisle in the season finale. Doesn't mean they would have married. Something was going to happen at the altar. Downey arrested in April on drug charges. The actor currently in rehab. Curious George, that mischief-prone little monkey will make his way into your neighborhood theaters one of these days real soon, but Hollywood Reporter writes he won't look like the charcoal chimp you know. He'll get some Shrek treatment. The producers so love the way that film looked that George will be totally 3D animated. Quick hits now. Shortest amount of possible time. Lord of the Dance Michael Flatley hanging up his shoes of fire. A spokesperson for the Irish step dancer says his last dance will be this Sunday. Showtime developing a TV movie about the 2000 presidential election, warning both Democrats and Republicans they will be digging around for material. Comedian Caroline Ray taking over for Rosie O'Donnell on that talk show when O'Donnell's contract expires. And on this day in the year 1945, the USS Indianapolis torpedoed by a Japanese submarine. 316 out of 1,096 men survived the sinking and shark-infested waters. And that's your news. And the G-Block, as Fox reports, is Monday, July the 30th, 2001, and still ahead. The most powerful prime time in all of cable news begins with Mr. Bill O'Reilly. And tonight on the O'Reilly Factor, Mr. Bill is back. He is back, rested, tan, and ready to rock and roll. Would a no relationships rule have kept Congressman Gary Condon and Chandra Levy apart? What do you think of that? Then it's Hannity and Combs. You know what Hannity and Combs are going to be talking about tonight? They're going to be talking about the Levy investigation and whether or not Gary Condon should just resign. And on the edge with Paula Zahn, more in the latest developments in the searching for that missing intern, as 91 days later we learned from police that come the end of the week they may wrap it all up. And this thing may go cold. I'm Shepard Smith in New York. Great to have you with us as Fox Reports tonight. For all of us on the Fox Report, we appreciate you tuning in. See you tomorrow.